Hello, and welcome to the Five Witches Worth Knowing About webinar for Tamed Wild. My name is Amanda Paulson, and I'm a paranormal investigator and a psychic medium based out of Spokane, Washington. I own a blog called Pretty Up and Spooky, and I've been paranormal investigating for over 17 years, but I've also been doing paranormal and astrology work with Tamed Wild since about 2021. I really love finding meaning in the unexplained and the mysterious. And so that's why I'm so excited today to be bringing you five different witches that I believe are very much worth knowing about. Now, if you're here, I would assume that you either have a witchcraft practice yourself or you're on your journey to finding a practice that works best for you. You also probably know about the term witch and all of the different meanings that the term witch can hold. At the end of this webinar, I'm hoping that you can look at witch as a term of empowerment and resistance, and also to look at witchcraft and witches as a beautiful mystery rather than something to be fearful of. We're going to dig into these five different witches and why they matter so much in myth and history, and also associate them to how they can inspire us on our personal empowerment journey. Now, this is only five witches, and of course, there are many different important ancient witches throughout time. So, I also hope that at the end of this webinar, you feel inspired to either do further research on these five witches or to research different witches that you feel called to. Now, before we get started, I would encourage you guys to go and grab a journal or a notebook because I am going to have different reflective prompts, journal prompts, at the end of each section. So you'll want to write down your responses to those prompts, and also you might want to take some notes on each of these witches as we go along. So to begin, we're going to start with one of my favorites, which is Circe. Circe is the witch of transformation. Her background starts with Homer's Odyssey. She's the daughter of Helios, a sun god, and also a sea nymph. So she has this kind of balanced nature about her. And she was considered a very powerful witch of potions. She also was known to have been considered very dangerous and vengeful, but like a lot of witches throughout history, that's only one side of her story. She ends up setting up her life alone on this island and studying potions and herbs and learning transformation magic on her own on this island. One of the most iconic moments of Circe, though, is in the Odyssey when Odysseus and his crew land on the shores of her island. She invites them to feast with her, but they end up proving themselves to be very rude and aggressive. And so, as a way to set boundaries with them, she ends up turning them into pigs. I love this. I think this is kind of hilarious, but also I think it's a great show of how to protect yourself and set boundaries when people are rude to you or don't honor or respect you. So she is, like I said, she's associated with herbs. She's associated with her deep knowledge of herbs, but also with animal magic and overall feminine power. Themes that you can associate with Circe are also autonomy, our divine feminine rage, and transformation, of course. Now, ways that you can make a modern connection from Circe to us are with setting boundaries, how and when we set boundaries, our sovereignty, and also in the process or transformation of us reclaiming our power or reclaiming our magic. Now, a quick reflection prompt for Circe is where in your life do you need to draw a line and reclaim your power? Go ahead and take a couple minutes to write that down. Where in your life do you need to draw a line and reclaim your power? The next witch we're going to talk about is Hecate. Now, Hecate can be pronounced a couple different ways. You can pronounce it Hecate, Hecate, or Hecate, but either way, she's considered the witch of the crossroads, the guardian of the crossroads. Now, Hecate gets her origin in the Greek pantheon. She's a Greek goddess of witchcraft, of liminality, the dead, necromancy, the night. She is kind of the witch of all witches within the Greek pantheon. And some of the symbols associated with Hecate are keys, specifically skeleton keys. Also, torches. She's often seen in statues or in paintings holding torches. She's associated with dogs as well, black dogs specifically, and then with the crossroads. So the crossroads can be literal crossroads if you're working with her as a deity or as a goddess. You can go leave offerings for her at the crossroads, or it can be crossroads in our life. It can be liminal places in our life where we need to choose one direction or the other, and we're in between the thresholds of change and transformation. Modern magic that can be used in association with Hecate are protection spells. She's an incredibly protective witch, an incredibly protective deity to work with. Also, banishing rituals. She is extremely useful in banishing things that no longer serve us or people that no longer serve us. And then also divination. She's a very strong witch with divination, and she's great to call on when you're performing divination yourself. Now, again, Hecate is the guide who waits at the crossroads. And so she is also known for the crossroads are also known with the night, with the moon, if I mentioned that already, with ghosts as well, with spirits, which as a paranormal investigator, I absolutely love. But lastly, and most importantly, she's also considered a triple-bodied goddess. So she's seen in all directions. Again, the crossroads, you have all different directions at the crossroads, you also have directions past, present, and future. She holds the torch of light for the way, navigating these unknown directional places or unknown, places in life that we're going. And so she's very revered and often feared in these ways, especially for her association with the spirits of the dead. Now, in terms of Hecate, a little reflection prompt for you is think of a personal crossroads. What are your options at that crossroads, and what does your inner witch tell you about which direction to take? Take a couple minutes for that one, and then we'll move on. Next is Morgan Le Fay. She is the misunderstood witch. She has her origin starting in Arthurian legend. She's actually the sister to King Arthur. And she's known as the priestess of the island Avalon, which was known for magic. So her story has been told and retold many times through many different lenses, and it's hard to kind of separate fact from fiction with her. But it's important to know that Morgan Le Fay was known most for her duality. Now, she begins as a healer, a priestess, a wise woman, and she has all of this sacred knowledge. But then she's also later considered a dangerous sorceress, a temptress, and even a villain for working against King Arthur in myth. And so the modern link with Morgan Le Fay and what's so interesting with her journey and our journey today in modern day is how she was so often villainized while also being kind of a icon of feminine power, and how we are still villainized today for embodying our own feminine power or our inner power as witches, as women. And it's so easy to be villainized for how strong and powerful we can be. So you can often look to her for guidance today when you feel villainized for just being in touch with your own divine feminine empowerment. A reflection point or prompt for Morgan Le Fay is, where are you hiding your power for fear of being too much? In what areas of your life are you hiding your power because you're afraid of being considered too much? Reflect on that one for a couple minutes. Next, we're going to talk about Aradia or Aradia. This is the witch messiah. She is shrouded in myth, history, and also known for revolution. She appears first in the Gospel of the Witches, which was a book written in the 1800s, I think 1899, by Charles Leland, who claimed to have uncovered all of this ancient Italian folk witchcraft knowledge. And it's said that she is the daughter of the moon goddess Diana and was also sent to Earth to teach people how to resist their oppressors. So she was sent to Earth to basically teach witchcraft as a way of resistance to the oppressed. And now I mentioned that she was the daughter of Diana. She's also the daughter of Diana and Lucifer, according to folklore. So that is very interesting kind of duality there as well. But she is known to be associated with rebellion because she's teaching people this way of resistance through ancient witchcraft. She's also associated with teaching, and then also with liberation and freedom. She is there to teach sacred ancient witchcraft to people, as a way to be liberated from their oppressors, which I think is really beautiful. A little reflection prompt in regards to Aradia is, how do you resonate with her and her association to folk magic, ancestral practices, and social justice? How do you incorporate these things into your practice now, or how do you wish to incorporate ancestral practices, folk magic, and social justice in your practice in the future? Next and lastly, we're going to talk about Lilith. Lilith is considered the first woman or the first witch. She's a very controversial witch, and has been around in witchcraft lore for a very long time. Her origin starts in Jewish mythology. She was actually considered the first wife of Adam, who refused to submit to Adam and then left Eden because of that. And today, she has kind of been known to have reclaimed her feminine independence and is also, again, known for liberation, which is kind of a theme here in these five witches that we're talking about. Um, but she really represents this independence and liberation, that she had to have in order to leave Eden and reject Adam, or reject to submit to Adam. And today's relevance for that could be our work with setting boundaries again, our work with kind of rooting ourselves in our inner power, our inner strength, setting boundaries, and also working with our shadow. She's very much known for the shadow, with shadow work. And then also she can be associated with the moon and moon magic too. You'll often see people associate Lilith with moon magic. And then lastly, on that note, Black Moon Lilith, which is in astrology, is also associated with both power and oppression and Lilith, the witch. So a quick reflection prompt for Lilith is, what part of yourself have you been told is too much or not enough? How do you resonate with being told you're too much or not enough in different areas of your life? Now, these are just five, again, five of some of the most important witches I think that we should know about, but there are many more who have played a huge role in our journey as witches, or our journey through witchcraft over hundreds and hundreds of years. And I just think that these five in particular are a great direction for us to head in terms of finding empowerment and liberation and freedom and resistance and all of those wonderful, powerful things associated with feminine power and with being a witch. And these witches aren't just their stories either. They've become these huge archetypes, these really important archetypes, and even ancestors in our community in spirit. They're great reminders for us about how we carry threads of each of them. They're great reminders for these themes, and we also may resonate with one over the other. You may resonate with one witch. I resonate with Hecate personally, but you may resonate with a different one yourself. I'm very curious to know which one you resonate with the most. And so I invite you to journal and reflect on this topic more, to reflect on who calls to you right now, what witch calls to you, and continue the journey on learning about these witch ancestors of ours, these witch community ancestors. And if you'd like to lean into learning and seasonal living, join the 10th House Rising membership and receive access to a growing library of videos just like these, monthly live webinars, and 30% off of all course offerings. It's only $20 a month, and you can join at 10thhouserising.com. You can find me at Pretty Effin' Spooky on all social media platforms and prettyeffinspooky.com. And you can find Tamed Wild at Tamed Wild on all social media platforms and tamedwild.com. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'm so look forward to seeing you again soon.